Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing? I am. I'm being lazy. I'm being lazy. I was heading to the gym, and then I found this little spot where I could sit and watch the helicopters fly by, and I was like, oh. So that's sort of where I am right now, and watching different little YouTube videos and. You know, one I just watched about the indictment of former President Trump. And, of course, I have not been a hypocrite. I've said that I don't hate Trump. I don't want him to be president again. And I realize that if he uh, if he wins this case, it means that he possibly could be president again, which would definitely be a negative. So I need to be very careful about, wishing him um, to win the case. But because I don't want him to be president again, I don't think it would be healthy for the country. At the same time, the lawyer in me just looks for the legal arguments that can be, the legitimate legal arguments that can be made on his behalf. And, having very, very superficially read the Presidential Records Act and other statutes like what else did I read? The Espionage Act and so on. And listening to all these experts, I become more convinced maybe that he is toast in a way. I think maybe if I were him, I'd be looking more towards mitigation. How can I mitigate the damages? I mean, if I'm facing 20 years, if I'm convicted, how can I maybe do less years, maybe home confinement and pay a fine rather than making an argument that I had the right to the records? Because, the more I read, the more I see that, showing that he had the right to the records, the right to retain the records, the right to ignore the subpoena is going to be very, very difficult because, the law is pretty much clear that these records do not belong to the presidents, whether they're current or past presidents. These records belong to the United States. He took the records, he had them in the bathroom at Mar-a-Lago, which is itself a problem. Why would he have done that? Then he jerked them around for a year, according to his former attorney general. And then he ignored the subpoena and so on. I mean, some of it is just blatant disregard. Now, an argument can be made that, look, other presidents took records, and if was that a crime? The taking of the records in and of itself obviously did not rise to the level of criminality. I think the criminality comes in when he showed a willful intent to hold on to the records even after having been told that, these are not his records, he needs to return them. At that point, he turned an innocent mistake into an intentional decision to wrongfully hold on to the property of others. So this is a kind of a theft. They don't put that word on it, but it's kind of theft. And that's why it became a criminal situation, is that now you are intentionally holding on to somebody else's property. And so the question now is, well, what should be the appropriate punishment? The person was able to get their property back, and this is criminality. Criminal law can be punitive. Civil law is not punitive, but criminal law can be punitive. To deter him from ever doing something like that again, the government could ask for the maximum penalties. I think that at this point, if I were him, I'm looking to plead and to sort of figure out how to mitigate my potential exposure to jail time at this point, because I don't think he's going to be able to show that he had a right to these documents when you do have these statutes like the Presidential Records Act and so forth. And also, apparently, the types of documents that he had were just really, it just raises the question, what were you going to do with these, actually, if not espionage? So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think he should do?